Well, welcome back, everyone, to our special 10-year OPDD anniversary episodes where we interview alumni from the program about their experience. Joining me today is Matt Fitzgerald, a product designer and developer at Knafs, an artist as well, and class of 2025 from OPDD. Thanks for joining me. It's good to see you.
Thanks for having me, Chase. Thanks for throwing in the artist part there too.
Of
Appreciate
course.
that.
Well, it's in your LinkedIn bio, so I mean, I've got to include that. And you are like, where did that come
Yes.
from? I guess first of all, like, have you always seen yourself that way as an artist? I think it's cool that you include like designer and artist when you talk about yourself. Or where did that come from?
Yes, yeah, I've always seen myself that way. That's really how I kind of got into design. I've always loved art, always drawing, always painting. But you get to a certain point in life where you're like, I don't think I can really be an artist and survive. So design was a perfect intersection for me because I love art, but I also loved like mechanical stuff. So design was like the perfect intersection for me.
That's awesome. How did that look for you, like growing up? Was that like just, pencil and paper or like art classes where you're thinking like how did that manifest for you? Like the art side, the creative side?
Yeah, a lot of art classes. I loved like elementary school. They're called reflections contests, and they were like basically art contests. And there was a girl category and a guy category. And I always like swept the floor with all the other guys because they didn't care about it. So a lot of art classes, and then like kind of design. I've always been a huge car guy. So fixing up old trucks. And then really when I figured out I wanted to do design was when I started doing robotics in high school. I never coded anything, did not want to get into that. It was not really my lane, but designing and building the robot, I was like, okay, there's something here that I like.
That's
So
awesome. It's funny. Reflections took me back. You're talking to a Reflections finalist as well here
okay, yeah, here we go.
in the video stop motion category. So back in elementary
Nice.
school. So I guess that was like a national program, right? So anyone
I
that
think
listening
so.
nationally, maybe we'll see if anyone can resonate with that. But you took me
Shout
back
out
there.
reflections.
Shout out Reflections. Um, where did your like how did you find the program? You're creative. Like where did the program
Mhm.
come into that? How did you figure out that that's something that you wanted to do?
Well, I guess I should go back to high school more too. My senior year, I was on like student council, and the position that I applied for, I didn't have to run. I wasn't popular enough. I wouldn't have gotten it if I had to run. Um, so I did an appointed position, and it was a student body officer artist. So they basically put me in charge of running the school store, which, like looking back, that was way too much responsibility for me, but I loved it. So I got to design like all the merch. And that was like the first time I had done something artistic, but like on a product. And I loved it. It was so much fun. So I was kind of like, well, I'd like to do something artistic, but my dad's a mechanical engineer. So I just thought that's what I would do. My senior year of high school, I'm from Layton, which is pretty close to Logan. I came up and did a tour of Utah State and like went with my mom and we met with the mechanical engineering department. I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. But I looked at the course listing and it's like, I will not have any fun until my senior year. Like all these classes look so hard and not any fun at all. And I had some like brochure or something that they gave me. And in like the very back was outdoor product design and development. I was like, that's kind of interesting. I wasn't as outdoorsy as I am now, so I was kind of like, oh, I don't know, we'll see. But I met with Barbara, our advisor, and she told us about it, and it sounded interesting. And then at the end, she was kind of like, yeah, it's kind of hard to get into though. Like you have to apply 2 years in, and it's kind of competitive. And something about that, I was like, oh, okay, that's what I want to do. Like I want to try and see if I can get in there.
So the competitive piece was like a challenge for you.
Yeah, I kind of like the challenge. Definitely different challenge from mechanical engineering, and it was for some reason it was way more interesting to me. So,
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, what was your expectation going into the program? Like you at least had some experience coming in of like how to marry like art and product and like produce something
mhm.
through your high school experience, which speaking of that, that's really cool. And I've never heard of like that being a
Right?
responsibility for someone, like
Yeah.
that's such a cool opportunity to be involved in like merchandising, design of products like in high school. Um, but what was your like when you set foot on campus and like started in the program, kind of what were you hoping the program would lead you to?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, shout out Layton High. They really gave me so much opportunity. When I first came to campus, I was kind of thinking like I would do more of what I did in high school, which was really just like t-shirts and bags and throwing logos on things. And quickly like realized that there's a lot more that goes into this. But I still always thought that I would do soft goods. I was interested in clothing design or footwear. And basically like a year in, took a sewing class. It was great, but it was hard. And I was kind of like, I don't know if soft goods are for me. So I guess I expected more um, soft goods for me, but quickly learned after taking CAD classes that hard goods were what I wanted to do. Um, and I liked that you could kind of pick a lane. That was different than I thought it was going to be. I thought you kind of have to do it all, and you have to do it a little bit. Like you have to take an intro sewing class, but you can really emphasize in one or the other, which I liked.
Yeah, and I think like as the program evolved, we really prided ourselves on that ability to let you like pick and choose and focus on a discipline or a category, and or you can kind of do it all, which I think I do view you
You
that way,
totally can.
like as someone who can sketch and do, you know, the 3D, the 2D, like that can manifest in designing all sorts of different kinds of products, and which I think is the sign of a, you know, a good designer. It's like you're not limited necessarily, but you also do have that opportunity to focus, and I see you that way. It's like you could design a lot of different kinds of products if you wanted to.
I
Um,
appreciate that.
so I guess we're kind of transitioning into like when you're in the program, are there any specific classes or specific memories or late night like studio
Mm.
experiences that you think about or reflect on or come back? This is more recent for you. I mean, you were just
Yeah,
here.
it's very recent.
So maybe some of this is more fresh, but what memories come back to you or things that stick with you?
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, that first intro class with Andrew was so much fun. That really like got me hooked. I remember one of the days, it was like every Friday, he would have a guest speaker come in from industry. And one Friday, it was like the team from Yeezy, and they were showing us like their texts with Kanye. And this was before a lot of the Kanye controversy. So I was like, all in, I was like, that is so cool getting to work with someone like that. Like that really blew my mind. Um, and then like late night studio experiences. I mean, the sophomore portfolio is like such a beast. It was so like built up in my mind and I really wanted to get in. So there was a project. At the time, I worked at a machine shop, which was really beneficial. I got to learn a lot there. And so I really wanted to like shoot for the stars with my sophomore portfolio project. So I designed these mountain bike pedals. They were circular. Looking back, I'm like, okay, those probably should have been refined a little more, but they were cool. And I was like, it would be cool to actually make these out of aluminum, go and machine them. So I had one of the guys I worked with, he was a CNC programmer. He helped me program the machines and I went like in off hours. So I worked swing shift. And so when I was done at like 11 p.m., he stayed with me and we machined them like all through the night. So we were up till probably like 5 or 6 a.m. just working on these pedals and they turned out great. But man, it was a long night. It was worth it. I got in, but it was tough.
I think that's an interesting thing about the program too. I think like up until maybe you come into like a design program like this, like I think a lot of the classes that you take, there's like a right and a wrong answer, right? And it's like you can be finished with something, you can be finished with like a
Yeah.
math problem, or like you can like finish. I mean, maybe an essay. Not there's always things that you can refine on that, but like with design, like where do you end, right? And you've got to call it at some point. But I do think this program really lends itself to students who want to push a little bit
Mhm.
further than what was asked, you know. And I think it's cool that you thought, well, I could conceptually design this thing, but I could also take it a step further, right? And I think
Well,
that
and it's
that's really valuable.
yeah, and it's good to push because after I did that, I was like, this is gonna blow everybody's projects out of the water. This is so cool. And then I got there to turn mine in, and there was another set of aluminum mountain bike pedals that had been machined. So I was like, man, the competition is tough. Like you really have to push. And that's like the hardest thing a lot of times is knowing when to stop. So yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah, that's great. Are there projects, you touched on this a little bit, but are there other projects that you're particularly proud of during your time in the program? Anything that, in the junior, senior year that stands out, projects that you're proud of?
Yeah, I mean, my senior capstone is obviously the freshest in my mind, and I think it's definitely my best work. So for mine, I focused on pocket knives. I work at a pocket knife company now, and I really wanted to design something different, and I wanted to challenge myself again, like that pushing uh, the envelope. So I decided to design pocket knives specifically for women because they're kind of an underserved segment of the market. And I think it turned out really good. And again, it was a push. I decided to do, originally, I was going to do 5 models. And then, kind of like 2/3 of the way through the semester, we met with some industry professionals. And I think he was from North Face. He very politely was like, don't do 5 models. That's too many. You're not going to be able to finish. And I was like, okay, you're right. So I pared it down to 4. Um, but even 4 models, I decided to do 4 different colorways of each one. So like it turned out great, but it was a full like 2 weeks of sanding and painting, staying up super late. So I was really proud of how that project turned out. Other than that, did some cool footwear stuff in the footwear class that Jim teaches. I'm much prouder of my sketches and product plats than my actual physical shoe. Um, Making shoes is really hard, especially if you're not a super experienced sewer. So really happy with how that product flat turned out. Yeah, just I feel like all of the group projects turned out pretty cool. Most of the group projects I did were not like if you looked at them, you wouldn't be like, yeah, this is totally Matt's style, but I think they turn out in a way that like you could tell I worked on them and they turned out really well.
Well,
We did
you
like a prosthetic leg for one of them, which was crazy. So
well, you were part of the first cohort where we started assigning design briefs in the junior studio. I
mhm.
believe. Like
Yeah,
I think your cohort was the first one where we said you don't get to choose what you make in
yeah.
spring junior year. We're going to give you 3 briefs and then you've got to design for a company. And I think yours was it Black Diamond?
Yes. And now you're reminding me that is one of my other favorite projects. The one of the projects I did for junior is still in my portfolio now. We designed for Black Diamond, and it was kind of just like general outdoor stuff, which is really nice. Junior studio that you're a little bit more limited. And I designed this like hacking hatchet. It was so much fun going to the archive and looking at Black Diamond's past products. And I used inspiration from like an old ice axe and used that for my hatchet. It was so much fun. And then you get to present it to people from Black Diamond. So yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think we're really happy with how the direction of that course has gone, like giving you
Mhm.
briefs, giving you a few briefs in like rapid succession, right? To try to
Yeah,
simulate what it's like to
yeah,
work
they're
for a
quick.
company. Yeah.
Hmm.
Because I know it's probably hard to like move on from something and like make a decision, and it's easy to like get caught up in like designing something forever. So we had to put some limits on everyone's like, hey, you've got 3 weeks, and then you're moving on to your next brief. So yeah, that was a big moment I think for the program. So I'm glad that resonated. Um, what's life after Logan, look like for you? Like that college to career transition been? How has that been for you?
Yeah, I think that mine's kind of unique. I always imagined like after college, I'd probably go move somewhere else out of Utah, some weird company I'd never heard of. But actually, so I've been working for the company I'm at for 2 years now. I got the job right after my sophomore year in OPDD. It started as an internship and then they kept me on remote part time throughout school. So graduation, I took like a week off and then it was right back to work here at Knafs, um, down here in Layton. So about an hour south of Logan. It's where I'm from. It's kind of a funny story. The way I got the job, I was in school sophomore year. I had just taken a CAD class, so I was getting pretty good at 3D modeling. And this guy, Ben Peterson, moved into my neighborhood, and my dad ran into him at like Jiffy Lube. They got to chatting, and he was like, "Yeah, I run a pocket knife company." And my dad was like, "Oh, well, my son's in outdoor product design." So like the next day, me and my dad went to his garage, which is where he was running the company out of at the time. And I was like, this is weird. Like, I don't know what this is. Pocket knives, I guess. Like, I own pocket knives, but I wasn't really into them. But he started talking about some of the projects he was doing, and like it clicked in my brain, like, oh, this could be an opportunity. So I started talking with him and did some contract work for him. And then I've been here ever since. So the transition for me from school to work has been pretty seamless. Uh, just kind of continuing the position that I already had with some new responsibility and yeah, new knowledge. So it's been good. It's been really good.
A question I've asked everyone on these in these conversations is like, how long has it taken for you to feel not maybe not comfortable, but that you like belong in the industry?
Mm,
I know there's a lot of imposter syndrome, and I think that's totally
hmm.
normal. And maybe when you're too comfortable, like you're ready to do something else. But like, do you feel like, I mean, you're in a unique situation where you've been working at the company for a while, but it's only been a few months since graduation. Like, how are you feeling like comfort wise of being a professional? Like you're a working professional.
Yeah, it's definitely a transition. I definitely have a unique position because I've been able, like the last 2 years, I've been able to go to trade shows with Knafs. So I've gone to Blade Show Texas and Blade Show Atlanta twice, and then Blade Show West twice as well. And I can definitely tell a difference because the first few shows I went to, I'd like introduce myself as, oh, I'm a student, but I also work at Knafs. This is what I'm doing. Honestly, this last Blade Show Atlanta in June, I felt so much more comfortable. I was like, I didn't have to introduce myself as a student, and then I just have more experience. So we always meet with suppliers at these shows, and it was just a little bit more secure knowing that I was done with school and I felt like I was doing no, felt like I knew what I was doing a little bit more. So I'm starting to feel comfortable. Every now and then I'm like, no, I'm still a kid. Like this is this is a little weird, but
Yeah.
definitely more comfortable.
How has it been growing with the company? I think that's another interesting aspect of like where you're at is like going from working at a company out of someone's garage to
Mhm.
you're at the office now. Like, what's that been like to work for a small business?
It's been honestly, like I think that's why me and Knafs are such a good fit is because our trajectories have been really aligned. So yeah, when I started, I was a sophomore and we were in the garage. So like we didn't need Ben originally asked me like, do you know any seniors that are graduating that would want to work for me? And I was kind of like, well, I would. Um, and it worked out because like I don't think that they were really ready for someone newly graduated. So it's been really nice to grow with Naps. I also kind of have to have a little bit more patience with myself because I look back at work I did and I'm like, man, that was terrible. But I'd also not graduated from school, so I didn't know everything. I still don't know a lot. So we've been recently actually been trying to implement more of a culture of constant improvement, which is something I wasn't really involved with at the start, and now it's like something I really focus on. We're trying to implement Kaizen. It's a Japanese principle where like anytime you can see something you can improve, do it and do it as much as possible. So it's been really gratifying to grow with NAFs, and I hope that that's kind of the plan is to continue to grow with them. So
That's awesome. That's great. Um, what do you have any like advice for students?
mm,
What would you share to a student who's maybe just starting or kind of it feels like they're on the outside looking in, into
so,
the industry? Like what advice would you share?
I mean, some of the best advice I ever got while at school was in connections, the like 2 week course you take at the start. My mentor was like, treat school like a job. Like, even if you have part-time job, you should be spending about 40 hours on school. If you can go to campus at 9 and stay till 5, you're not going to have any problems with homework. At least I didn't. So, yeah, really focus in, and it is your job to do well in school for the next 4 years. Other advice I would give would be don't get discouraged by LinkedIn. It might appear like everybody's just killing it, but I don't know. They're probably doing the same thing you are, trying to get by. Um, Always be reaching out to people, because that's another thing that surprised me. The outdoor industry, and then specifically the knife industry, is extremely welcoming. Um, I've been able to like DM and message people on LinkedIn who are, executive level at this company or that company, or maybe they own a company, and I get responses. So don't be afraid to reach out. And then, yeah, I mean, specifically for OPDD, try not to ski more than you go to class. So you'll probably get ahead if you can do that.
Yeah. There will be time for skiing for sure.
Yep.
I need to
Yeah.
just like we talked about, just need you to just say that same thing that you just did to my class, that LinkedIn piece. So, I mean, you're speaking my
Yep.
language. That's something I believe in for sure. It's like people want to help, they want to give back, and I think it's the people that are not afraid to reach out or put themselves out there that, you put yourself in a position for more opportunities to present themselves, right? Um,
100%.
so
And
that whole,
companies like people who post on LinkedIn. Like, even if you're working at a company, continue to post, because you're drawing attention to that company. You're making it look more desirable. So
yeah, you've done a great job of that. Like, I'm curious, I want to
thank you.
get into that too. Like, I'd expect a lot of students to just stop as soon as they get a job.
Hmm.
It's like, I don't need to, keep putting myself out there. Like, what motivates you to do that? You've been sharing your capstone and some of your projects. Like, what motivates you to do that?
I mean, part of it, like, I kind of looked at LinkedIn and my design account on Instagram as like a digital scrapbook. Like, I don't know, my parents have always been big scrapbookers, and we love to look back at our memories. So it's a great way to look back and say, man, like, I've gotten so much better at design. And then something that my boss, Ben Peterson, has always talked about is a lot of makers and designers will design a product. And by the time it's released, they're sick of it. You're so tired of that product, you don't want to think about it at all. But that's like the opposite of how you should think about it. When that product's released, like, that's when it starts. And that's when you need to start telling people about it. Um, we always say the more you tell, the more you sell. So, the more you can put yourself out there and show what you can do, where you're going to go, I think.
That's awesome. That's really good advice. Any other parting thoughts? Anything you want to share? Or should we wrap it there?
Um, I guess lastly, I would just want to thank Chase and all the faculty at OPDD. I think it's a very unique program where you get to develop these really real relationships with the professors. I'm talking to my roommates who are in, other programs that are huge. They don't know their professors' last or first names a lot of times. So, you get to take so many classes with Jim and Julie and both of the Marks and Chase, and you get to really develop relationships. And I think that's a lot of what's special about OPDD.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I feel that same way. It's like the fact that we can reach out to our alums and you all are
Hmm.
willing to help says a lot about, I think, the program, but it says a lot about the students that we get and the people that we get to work with too. So the fact that you're willing to come back and everyone else who's doing these interviews, like, says a lot about you all as well, that you're willing to spend time and give back and contribute and help us continue to build this thing that, has been going on 10 years now. So, um, well, this has been great. I appreciate you just taking some time to share a little bit, share some thoughts. Like, I think I want to cut some of these segments out just for my class to listen to. So
Oh,
you shared
great.
some really, really great advice.